And we actually get to do something a little bit different to open up the party.
Okay.
You got your quarters ready?
I got quarters and tokens. We going to the arcade?
We're going to the arcade. And ladies and gentlemen, we have got a treat for y'all today because joining us live from just a few hours up the road from me, ironically, is the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing reigning, defending, undisputed champion, the one and only Parker White. Parker,
hey guys,
welcome, buddy. What's going on?
Good
not
morning,
much.
sir.
It's been a pretty good morning so far.
My man, first off, hell of a season this year, picking up that championship, man. What was it like? Because this was, I believe, your first time getting into the Final Four. What was it like going up against those guys like Nick the Quick, Nick O, and everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going in there just trying to have a good time. Obviously, like you said, it was my first time there, so I really didn't expect to like win because they had all been there before. They knew what it was like racing in that environment, and like I really didn't know what to expect. But I feel like I did a lot of prep for that, and I feel like I did the right prep, and it paid off. So I just couldn't be more happy with how it ended up. Obviously, winning the championship was the goal, and I did that. So pretty cool.
Yeah, of course, and congratulations to you. But with your time in eNASCAR, meeting so many great people from so many different organizations, having probably good handful of teammates. Who do you think was your favorite person to compete with?
Competing with on the track, I'd say probably either Donovan Strauss or Steven Wilson. Both of them are my teammates, so always fun to race around them. Steven is always up at the front, and Don and I always seem to qualify right next to each other in the races. So always fun racing around those two, and they race me clean.
As myself as a Kansas City Pioneers fan, I think you know who I'm talking about when I say Wyatt Tinsley and Granville.
Yeah, of course. Both of them are my teammates too. So.
Yeah, with Wyatt winning that first leg at Daytona and then also winning Daytona overall, did that come as a surprise to you, or did you think, oh, this is just another Wyatt race?
Honestly, I would say so a little. It wasn't like, oh, Wyatt's not going to win this race because it's Daytona, really, anyone can win. But just with the way that season went, I was like, yeah, Wyatt will be in the playoffs. It's another car for us. But unfortunately, he didn't end up making the playoffs. So it was good to see him get that win. It helped us out a lot. He was able to help us out throughout the regular season and help us get in the playoffs. Like I said, unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but just pretty cool to see him win. He won the Clash and then won that race, so pretty cool to go back to back.
Yeah, and then of course, in your time competing in just iRacing overall, esports overall, what was your favorite event to ever participate in?
I would say across all of iRacing, probably the Nürburgring 24 Hours was a lot of fun this year. I learned that track about this time last year. Obviously, it's a really big track. It's like 7-8 miles long, something like that. So definitely not an easy track to learn. So racing that for 24 hours this year was a lot of fun.
That's good to hear. I mean, I personally have heard a lot of stories from Don, and I've heard that you two have clashed quite a bit when it came to iRacing, whether it be in an incident involving multiple cars or just overall racing to the line and having a photo finish type thing. You've met, I know I said this before, you met multiple players, multiple teams, but I want to know what it's like working in Williams as a part of Williams Esports.
Yeah, Williams has been a really big help for me. The biggest thing with all the eNASCAR teams and the actual setup teams, so like for example, I'm on North Force Racing. Like I said, like your guys like Granville and Wyatt Tinsley, they're both my teammates at NFR. And then you have like what you would call like the show teams, I guess. So like Williams, like the Pioneers, like those teams. So there can sometimes be a disconnect within the teams. So like for example, if when drivers from like Workhorse Racing and other guys from like Dead Zone or something, there's a disconnect between those two guys, and they'll be on two different setups. So what I really like about Williams is we actually get to work directly with everyone at Williams. It's not like they just like wish us good luck in the race and like that's it. Like we actually get to interact with them like on a daily basis, which that's really big for me. Just having a team that I can talk to, build a relationship with, and of course Don, he's a really big part at NFR as well. So we get to work together all the time. So that's what I've really enjoyed about Williams.
Yeah, for sure. Now, everyone's wondering more than likely what actually got you involved with iRacing. Like, what made it tick that you could actually be competitive with this?
So it was like I think it was like October 2019 or something. I was just playing like all the NASCAR Heat games. It's like, well, this is pretty fun. I would like to kind of take this a step further. And I was just watching a lot of videos of iRacing and just the way the driving physics looked. It looked like it was like the real deal. So uh, I got iRacing like late October 2019, and as soon as I started driving, I'm like, wow, this is like exactly how I expected it to be, like even better. Like the driving physics felt really good, and I was uh, like I'd like to do something with this. I didn't necessarily want to like go all the way to the Coke series. I just wanted to like use it as like a hobby, like just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So then obviously 2020 came around and COVID hit. So I had a lot of time inside at the house, just doing a lot of laps on the rig. Met a lot of really good friends, and from there I was just able to progress all the way up until the Coke series. I tried Road to Pro for the first time in 2021. Didn't quite make it through that year. I just kind of used it like as a learning experience. Did it again in 2022 with NFR. That was my first full year with North Force Racing, and was able to make it through that year. So ever since then, I've had everyone at NFR help me just to get to this point.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have actually my copy of NASCAR Heat 3 right here. Was one of the first ever NASCAR games I played. Next, it was like a Thunder 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Was actually my first one, but this is my first one on a new gen console. But the championship race, going into the race, what was going through your mind? Take us through that.
Yeah, so it really all started even before I went to Charlotte. Like the way I was preparing for that race was just basically trying to get as many distractions around me as possible. Like I have actually 4 screens on my sim rig, so I would have the broadcasts from the 2023 race playing up on my top monitor. Then I just have like YouTube videos or something playing on both my right and left monitor just to kind of like get used to driving with distractions, especially for qualifying because qualifying in eNASCAR is extremely important. Track position because we're all just super close. It's really hard to pass just because we're all super close on speed. So
Mm-hmm.
that helped me out a lot, just practicing with distractions. And one thing that actually helped me out a lot was SimSeats who did our rigs in Charlotte. They actually had our rigs set up in our hotel rooms when we got there. I think we got there on Friday before the race, so we had a lot of time just to kind of get used to those rigs that they provided us. Uh, and like the biggest thing for me was in a different environment because we were in our hotel rooms. I'm used to driving in my living room at home, so uh, like just getting used to that helped me out a lot. I was like, okay, this isn't much different. Like I'm doing the same thing. Luckily for me, I have a SimSeats rig here at home, so it's pretty easy to get used to that. So uh, then I wasn't sure what to expect going into the day of the race. Like obviously I've been to the Hall of Fame before. I know what it's like in there, but just walking in there on the day of the race, like I was just locked in, just ready to go. Like I didn't try to think about the crowd at all. Uh, like obviously I knew the crowd was there. Like we did driver introductions. I got to see everyone there. But once the race started, like I didn't think about it much. And I could just barely hear the broadcast like muffled in the background, which was very useful for me because when I was preparing, like I could like clearly hear them talking in my headset because obviously I just had the broadcast from last year playing in the background. So uh, like I was really able to get locked in, just in the zone, just do my own thing in that race. And oddly enough, I really didn't feel all that much pressure compared to other races because I feel like I just put so much pressure on myself during the prep and like I knew it was going to be my biggest race ever that I've ever done on iRacing. So uh, just everything I did in preparations for that, and just going into that event knowing that I'm racing in front of a live audience, that helped me out a lot, and I was able to stay calm during the race.
Yeah, and again, that was a crazy race. I watched all of this year because Kind of because Matt Ness, you might have met him. He's one of the creative directors at Pioneers, but he was like, "Dude, you need to watch this eNASCAR thing." And Don was also preaching it to me, so I was like, I'll watch the first few races and see how it goes. And then Vegas happened. With what was that like from your perspective? With how that race dramatically ended?
Yeah, the Las Vegas race was very frustrating for me because obviously Daytona, Wyatt won that race, and like I wanted to win Vegas. Like I just wanted to get myself locked into the playoffs as soon as possible. So I qualified really good that race. I was up in the front with my teammate Steven. I think Don was up there as well. Uh, there was a lot of NFR cars up there, and we were basically just dominating that race for like the first half. And we got a very bad timed caution. It was probably around like lap 30, 40, somewhere around there, like just right before the pit window would have opened. And none of us up at the front were going to pit and give up our track position to get more fuel. However, the guys on the very back, they have nothing to lose. So they ended up pitting for fuel. And I feel like I drove a really good race all the way up until the end. And our last pit stop, I think I pit a couple laps after everyone, so I'd have the precious tires. And I remember racing up at the front. I think I was racing like Casey Kerwin. We were racing for what would have been the race lead if those guys had to pit. So what was going through my mind at that time, I was like, okay, I'm probably racing for the lead here, so I could just get by as soon as possible, just pull away, then I should have this race won. But uh, I didn't realize how much fuel they could have saved at the front, and then like those guys like Keegan, like Nick Ottinger, Cody Bias, like they were side by side in the last lap, but obviously they ended up wrecking, and Keegan got by and won the race. So uh, it was pretty unfortunate for me. Just like that, it was a bit hard those few days after the race, just trying to recover, just being like, just put this behind me. I still got a good finish that race. I still finished fifth, so uh, I was carrying a lot of momentum into the next few races, and that's really what kind of really set up the whole season, like the tone of the season. Like you had the crazy finish with like Keegan, Nick, and Cody, and then another race that I felt like got away from me was Charlotte because I was really quick that race. I remember I even got a caution that trapped me a lap down after I pit in that race. I took the wave round, was on older tires, and I drove all the way back to the lead on old tires. So to see that race kind of slip away from me was a bit disappointing, but just never gave up throughout the whole season. And obviously got that win at Phoenix, and that just carried a lot of momentum into Homestead that won me the championship.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of those seasons to definitely keep an eye on throughout the course of the entire run. What was it like being in Phoenix, getting all those accolades? Because you were there for championship weekend for the actual rate for the actual guys. What was it like on your end for all that?
Yeah, just that whole week in general was just super cool for me. I've never been further west than like Detroit, I'm pretty sure, and that was just like the stopover at the airport. So uh, getting to go to Phoenix with all my friends was extremely cool. Just being out west in the desert, just very cool to see like the whole landscape and everything. We got to spend a couple of days there before the race, so just seeing everything that was there in Phoenix was super cool. And then just at the track, just getting to do like all interviews on the stage was super cool. Uh,
Mhm.
just that whole weekend was really cool, and I got to go in the drivers' meeting. Uh, like I even got to hang out with Brad Keselowski and his hauler. So just getting to hang out with like all these like super good drivers, like real life drivers, was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. And believe it or not, you and I have actually kind of come close crossing paths before because I was actually at the Xfinity race in New Hampshire. I know you and Dan were there for the weekend. I think I came close to running into you guys there. I
Yeah,
was actually on pit road for the Xfinity race.
yeah. I actually wasn't in New Hampshire this year. I've actually never been to New Hampshire, but I'll probably try to go next year.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe one of those. I maybe missed it. One of those tweets. My brain is still half here today. It's been a long week.
Yeah, I remember I put out some tweet. It might have even been of the New Hampshire race because we went to the Cook Center this year, and
Mhm.
yeah, Daniel Falkenham was there, and it just started absolutely like pouring. So I was like,
Yeah.
if anyone's gonna bring the rain to a NASCAR race, it's gonna be him. And I remember even before we went to Phoenix, I was like, if it rains here at Phoenix, it's all because of Dan. So
Yeah, that would definitely happen. That'd be his luck. So, what have you been doing during the off season? You've been tinkering and tuning a little bit. You still been behind the wheel. What's been going on with you these days?
Yeah, not really much of an off season for me actually. I'm racing in the MCE Sports Global Championship, and we have a race on Saturday. I'll be driving this weekend. So this is a championship I've actually been looking forward to for quite a long time. I was watching it last year. Unfortunately, didn't get to race, so pretty excited to be able to race this weekend. But really, I don't really want to take too much of a break, guys. I just want to stay sharp on my driving skills and just kind of hang out with everyone, all my teammates, just anytime I can. So not really much of off season for me.
Yeah, definitely. I get how that goes with all the bigger guys that are out there and how tight these schedules can be from time to time because running in all these different championships does take a lot. So, I get it when it comes to stuff like that. So, if anything else you want to mention, we're coming up a little bit on a break, but is there anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I'm not really. Obviously, just got to thank everyone, North Sports Racing, all my friends, Williams Esports, that just got me to the position to fight for that championship this year. So really, just can't give enough credit to them.
I also like receiving the ring is my last thing. Receiving the ring. What was the first thing you thought about when you got that ring in your hands?
Honestly, I really don't know. Like, because that was like the first time that weekend I had been on the stage in front of like the entire crowd. So, to be honest, I really wasn't thinking about the ring that much because I had that big check there, and just getting to see everyone out there in the crowd and like in the stands, being like, yeah, like I'm here on stage in front of everyone here at the racetrack on Sunday of the big race. So, like I said, it was just a really cool experience for me, just that whole weekend, just looking back at it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey man, we thank you for being the first guest in the arcade, and we would love to have you back anytime next season for sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Parker White, everybody.
I recently, actually, let me grab this if I can.
What you grabbing now?
I actually recently got one of my first sim racing wheels.
Oh,
If all these blankets, didn't come tumbling down, that would be nice. At a Logitech.
Oh, you got a G920?
Yep. This is my first sim racing wheel, and I love it dearly. And I think eNASCAR was like one of the big reasons I bought this wheel. I'm really happy I have this. I think the only problem I have is that these buttons don't work. These little buttons on the side don't work. I've been trying to bind F1 and NASCAR Heat, but they just don't. They don't want to bind. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen.
Trust me, I see where you're coming from. This is my new little beast. Thankfully, it's actually detachable. It's a PXN V99 wheel that I actually ended up winning in a contest, and it's actually really